Right now at 6, gusty winds and high fire danger across Colorado. The winds take down a big tree in Denver, and a grass fire forces evacuations in Arvada.
It's just scary how something so small can turn into something so huge within matters of minutes.
State lawmakers want to ban flavored tobacco products.
A whole generation of kids have become addicted to these products.
Doing so would have a big implication for your child's education.
It's either pre-K and you find a new revenue source for it, or pre-K and you don't, and flavor ban doesn't go forward.
Plus, the Broncos are on the clock, and we look at their top priorities for the NFL draft. Thank you very much for watching Denver 7 News at 6 on Denver 7 Plus. I'm Shannon Ogden. This week, the FDA proposed a ban on menthol-flavored tobacco products. Now, the agency hopes it can prevent tobacco deaths, especially among communities of color. At the same time, state lawmakers in Colorado are considering their own flavored tobacco ban. Denver 7 political reporter Megan Lopez explains why that bill may be doomed to fail.
The flavored tobacco ban bill was one of the first introduced this legislative session, and it had bipartisan support. But in the 4 months since it was unveiled, it's more or less stalled out, and the reason might have to do with a different Democratic priority.
Time moves in weird ways at the state capitol. During long debates, it feels like it grinds to a halt.
The strategic direction, policies, and procedures.
Toward the end of the legislative session, it always seems to speed up. Some bills fly through in no time, others can't seem to move at all. That's
A whole generation of kids have become addicted to these products.
certainly the case with House Bill 1064, one of the first introduced this legislative session, but since then it really hasn't moved much. It would prohibit the sale of flavored tobacco products in the state.
Flavors like cotton candy, unicorn poop, Skittles. You can't tell me that you're not marketing to kids.
The goal is to cut down on youth vaping rates by taking away those tempting flavors, but it's brought out a lot of opposition.
It's the most lobbying I've ever seen on an issue. There's a huge business interest.
And it's not just local lobby groups. This bill has drawn in national brands like 7-Eleven and Juul to oppose it. Even Democrats have concerns. And this might be why. This year, universal pre-K was a big priority for the party. It's mainly funded by, you guessed it, nicotine taxes, so banning flavored tobacco would be a big hit.
That bill represents $55 million worth of revenue to the state. There has to be a choice made. And so it's either pre-K and you find a new revenue source for it, or pre-K and you don't, and flavor ban doesn't go forward.
Representative Kyle Mullica understands the revenue impact, but insists it shouldn't be either or.
The health of our kids is not worth universal preschool funding, that we can figure out the monetary pieces of this.
But there's another wrinkle. Governor Polis also opposes the bill.
I support local control on a wide variety of issues, and frankly, exactly what gets sold with marijuana or nicotine or alcohol is a local decision. I'm against statewide prohibition.
Mullica and co-sponsors insist the bill isn't doomed yet.
We all recognize that he does have some concerns with the bill, but we're more than willing to sit down with him and try to find the solutions.
But with the governor and members of their own party opposing it, it will be a rough road ahead. Megan Lopez, Denver 7.
And about a half a dozen cities have already banned the sale of flavored tobacco products. Most recently, Denver's mayor vetoed an attempt to ban it, saying he would prefer for the state to take action. Now, lawmakers now have 12 days to decide whether to support this idea. A wild day of weather in Colorado. Gusty winds took down trees all over the metro. This large spruce fell on a Jeep in Wash Park in Denver this afternoon. Now, thankfully, that driver made it out okay. And in Wheat Ridge, a tree fell onto Chase Street, closed that road between 41st and 38th. In fact, last check, that stretch of road is still closed. And in Brighton, take a look at this. The storms moved through and they brought Pete a quarter-size hail. Our Denver 7 colleague took this video and says he didn't notice any damage besides some of the plants that took quite a beating there. Well, red flag warnings expire at 7 o'clock tonight. And this afternoon, we had a small grass fire near the train tracks in Arvada. It was in the area of 88th and Sheridan. Several homes had to be evacuated. And we spoke to one teenager who had to run home and grab what he could.
My mom called me while I was in school, and she said that there was a fire a few doors down, so I talked to my friends and rushed down here so I can pack some stuff up.
Arvada fire crews were able to get a handle on this one pretty quickly. It burned about 100 acres. Jeffco used their brand new Lookout Alert system to notify people of the fire. And coming up in about 15 minutes, Mike Nelson will be here with a look at our next chance of some much needed rain. And while red flag warnings are in effect along the Front Range, the high country saw snow. These are images from our CDOT camera on Cameron Pass near Estes Park, and along Highway 40 near Steamboat Springs. What a day. Well, starting on Sunday, summer watering rules will go into place across the metro, and this will impact several communities. In Denver, Aurora, Lakewood, Wheat Ridge, and unincorporated Jefferson County, you are not allowed to water your lawn between 10 in the morning and 6 at night. Water restrictions in Castle Rock are from 8 to 8, and these restrictions are in effect at least through September. Well, back in February, we showed you a rundown Clarkson Lodge. 50 people were given just 2 weeks to move out after that building was sold to a developer. Well, after getting an extension, 20 people are still living there. As Denver 7's Micah Smith reports, now all of them have to be out by tomorrow.
I'm scared because I don't have nowhere to go.
Yvonne Martinez has known this day would come for over a month.
I don't have nobody. My mom and dad died, so that's why I'm here. It was a cheap place for me to stay.
Martinez pays $650 a month for this room.
I've been here.
But she and other tenants at Clarkson Lodge are being forced out with nowhere to move to.
If the sheriffs come, they could take my stuff. And that's a little bit of stuff I got.
Oh, well, I mean, it is.
Tom Snyder's organization, the Colorado Poverty Law Project, is helping Martinez and other tenants with housing resources. After a Denver 7 report first made the organization aware of the mass eviction, the project also helped delay the move-out date.
And we're able to send a letter to the owner of the property to remind them of what the notice requirements were, and we're able to negotiate a 6-week stay.
Snyder says those 6 weeks are up for Clarkson Lodge. In fact, across the state, the Colorado Poverty Law Project is seeing more mass evictions with similar short notices.
We're seeing a lot of older properties that either might have functioned as SROs or hotels at one point in time being redeveloped, gut rehabs.
Snyder says he suspects Clarkson Lodge will also be turned into a high-end property, leaving many, like Wayne Wegman, priced out with few options.
It's hard to get cheap places nowadays. Everything's so expensive. Went 3 times a month. This makes like the 3rd time I've been told to leave.
Both Wegman and Martinez know Clarkson Lodge isn't much.
I'm gonna be homeless.
They say there are bed bugs and maintenance issues, but they still would have chosen to stay in this place they have called home. Clarkson Lodge's office manager said at one point there were 50 people living here. Now there are just 20 left. Some have places to go and others don't. Reporting in Denver, Micah Smith, Denver 7.
An arrest has been made in the tragic accidental shooting death of a 3-year-old boy in Denver. 39-year-old Selena Duran is the boy's mother, and she is facing a charge of negligent child abuse resulting in death. Denver police say the little boy shot himself in a parked car April 17th. He died April 22nd. And police are still looking for the boy's father, 34-year-old Manuel Lopez. Wild horse advocates are questioning whether horses rounded up last summer were properly vaccinated against the equine flu. The American Wild Horse Campaign claims horses that were gathered in northwest Colorado last July were never vaccinated. Now, BLM says an additional 8 horses died today at the Canyon City facility because of the equine flu. So that brings the total since Saturday to 102. We reached out to BLM about their vaccination policy. They say the horses being affected were partially vaccinated.
Would you say these pay out better than the casinos?
Yeah. Gambling is happening all over Colorado, and operators are finding ways to get around the rules.
Can I get in trouble for paying them? No. The way we're set up here is good.
It certainly looks, feels, and acts like a casino.
Denver 7 Investigates goes undercover, exposing the underground world of gray casinos in the effort to stop it.
They're providing games that are illegal outside the gaming towns.